What's up, everybody? So there's a bit of an update in the Vallow Daybell and Chad Daybell case. If you're unfamiliar with this case, check out the documentary Doomsday: The Missing Children. It is an excellent documentary. However, it is one of the most bizarre stories and bizarre cases you will ever hear. Now, this update is linked in the description below. The prosecutors state Vallow Daybell intended for her children to die and participated in their killings. Prosecutors plan to present sufficient evidence that shows Vallow Daybell intended for her two children and Tammy Daybell to die, and that she participated in the killings of her kids. That's according to court documents filed Thursday from Madison County Prosecuting Attorney Rob Wood and Fremont County Prosecuting Attorney Lindsay Blake. The prosecutors also expressed serious reservations about Vallow Daybell's request to meet with her husband, Chad, who is also charged with these crimes, and they argue her alleged actions make her eligible for the death penalty. Vallow and Chad Daybell are charged with multiple counts of first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder for the deaths of 7-year-old Joshua Vallow and 16-year-old Tylee Ryan, two of Vallow's children, along with Chad's previous wife, Tammy Daybell. In regards to the death penalty, prosecutors are seeking the death penalty against the Daybells, but Vallow's attorneys filed a motion this month arguing that the details have not been specific enough by the prosecuting attorneys to state why their client is eligible for death. The defense attorneys asked Judge Stephen Boyce to declare the death penalty unconstitutional in the case and to take it off the table. In the newly filed objection, prosecutors explain why they believe Vallow Daybell qualifies for the death penalty. Sufficient evidence exists for the grand jury to find probable cause that the defendant intended for her children and Tammy Daybell to die. Further, there is sufficient evidence for a jury to conclude that the defendant participated in the killing of her own children. Evidence that the state will introduce at trial, some of which a grand jury has already reviewed, will establish that the defendant intended for her children and her boyfriend's wife to die, and that she firmly acted to make these deaths happen. Lori's attorneys state, and they have filed a notice of alibi stating that her children died in the apartment of her brother, Alex Cox, while she was in her own apartment, and that she was in Hawaii when Tammy Daybell died. In a separate court filing, prosecutors responded to Lori's request to meet with Chad in person and talk with him on the phone for strategy sessions ahead of their trial. The state has serious reservations about allowing the co-defendants to have face-to-face or other communication directly with each other. The state recognizes that the defendants have agreed not to use any evidence or information they may obtain through any discussions or meetings against each other. Nevertheless, the state is not willing to make a similar agreement. Any communication between each individual defendant and his or her attorney are confidential. However, having the other defendant and his or her co-counsel present would make them potential witnesses of statements made by the other defendant and eliminate any claim to attorney-client privilege. In regards to DNA testing, prosecutors acknowledge in another court filing that hair samples recently discovered by the Idaho State Crime Lab may be used to determine if there is sufficient DNA to create a DNA profile. Based on courtroom filings from July, it is likely the hair came from duct tape inside a body bag to transport JJ's remains, but the new filings do not provide specifics. The hair may be destroyed while the lab is testing, prosecutors wrote. In the event sufficient DNA is available to create more than one profile, the DNA sample will be split between the parties for testing, and each party may have an expert of their choice test their respective portions of DNA. In the event sufficient DNA is available for only one profile to be created, the parties agree the state lab shall halt any further testing, and the parties will reconvene at that time to determine who should conduct any further testing. So that's the newest update for the Vallow Daybell, Chad Daybell case. This case has been postponed a couple of times because of Vallow's competence to stand trial. It's going to be extremely interesting and extremely disturbing to hear everything when it comes out in court. Have you seen the documentary Doomsday: The Missing Children? Let me know what you think of the documentary. Let me know what you think of this case and this situation. I hope you're all having a good day, and I will see you again soon.